We just spent 10 nights on one of the oldest celebrity cruise ships, the Celebrity Infinity, and this is the good, bad, and ugly. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is JJ Cruise. Thank you so much for joining the video today. We've got a full review coming out about the Celebrity Infinity. We're talking food, we're talking entertainment, we're talking ship. This is one of the oldest ships that Celebrity has to offer.
Not just one of the oldest, but the smallest cruise ship in the entire Celebrity Cruises fleet. So we wanted to take a look at this cruise ship for ourselves. It is no surprise that with this being one of the oldest cruise ships, she also gets a lot of flack from being maybe one of the worst cruise ships Celebrity Cruises has to offer. So we wanted to verify for ourselves, is this ship worth it to cruise on for some of these unique itineraries that it goes on today?
Before we get into it, we do just want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. We do all things cruise here at JJ Cruise, so if you like cruising as much as us, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the thumbs up.
We just got off of our 10-day itinerary to the Greek Isles as well as Turkey and Crete, and boy was this a fantastic cruise itinerary. We already have our full Greek Isles cruise review where you have the good, bad, and ugly of Greek Isles cruises. Go ahead and check that out on our channel. But today we're talking all about Celebrity Infinity as a cruise ship.
Let's dive in by talking about the good. And we're going to start with our stateroom. For our stateroom on this 10-night cruise, we did have an Aqua Class veranda, which was your standard balcony room with, of course, the Aqua Class perks. The room in and of itself is a little tired, but there is some really good parts of the room, one of those being the storage.
The storage has plenty of space, whether it's shelving, drawers, closet space, hooks, all of this across the entire stateroom, including the bathroom, which is something that is needed for a longer voyage like our 10-night journey.
On this cruise, we actually didn't even use all of the storage in the room, so for an older ship, we were really impressed with the storage situation. Something else that we loved was that we actually had glass doors in our bathroom shower. You may not know this, but for most of the staterooms, especially the lower category staterooms on the Celebrity Infinity, you can still have shower curtains. Shower curtains are gross and nasty, and it was a big surprise when we walked into our bathroom and we actually saw double paned glass doors.
Now this is relatively new or recent with some of the renovations or dry docking, so this isn't gonna be for all cabins like we mentioned. This is gonna be for some of those Aqua Class cabins we hear on deck 11 especially, and we had the luck of having some on deck 9 as well.
In terms of the location of our room, we were on deck 9, like Jared just said, underneath the pool deck. We were a little bit worried about this because we know under decks can get very, very noisy. The noise level for us was actually fine. We barely heard anything. We heard maybe a chair or two move a couple of times during the 10 nights, but overall we liked the location and it was easy access to food and fun on the pool deck.
It is important to note we were under the Solarium, so this may cause some of the reason why we didn't have as much sound, but we think the soundproofing was actually a lot better than we've seen on even some of the more newer cruise ships that come out today. One main question we got all the time before going on Celebrity Infinity for our first time was, this is one of the oldest cruise ships. Is she even looking good? Like, is she well maintained? And we were pleasantly surprised at the maintenance. Obviously, there was some wear and tear that is noticeable as with any older cruise ship, but overall, very well maintained across the board.
One of the most well-maintained areas on the ship was actually the pool deck. We were impressed with the pool deck. The furniture didn't seem tired. The pool seemed well taken care of. Everything was really freshly painted. Now, this ship did come out of a dry dock about 2 weeks before we got on board, but the pool deck in general was great. 2 pools on the outside, 1 pool on the indoor solarium. We were really impressed, and we even got our trunks on and enjoyed some time on the pool deck while we were on the ship.
We couldn't talk about all the different pools without talking about the Solarium. The Solarium is one of our favorite solariums in the Celebrity Cruise fleet because you have a full thalassotherapy pool. That's correct, a pool that has jets, has a bed for you to lay in and relax in, as well as getting the jets underneath that bed. You also have water coming down from pipes so you can relax those back and neck muscles. Truly a relaxing experience without having to splurge on a spa visit.
Let's talk about the food on the ship. Now, like we said, for this itinerary, we were in Aqua Class, which meant we had our dinners in blue. Now, overall, our dinners in Blue was very, very good and consistent with all of the other Celebrity cruise ships that we've been on, specifically in that restaurant. Another area that we were impressed with the food was the buffet. We had the buffet for breakfast and lunch several days, and overall, the food was very good and the selection was great.
Key point during the day. We'll talk about the nighttime a little later. Oh, and with food, we can't forget the room service was delicious as well. Get that turkey club if you have access to it, and he got a bowl of mac and cheese as well. When we move into entertainment, one thing we love is going to a show. On Celebrity Infinity, we had 4 shows. Now, of course, we know the Edge class is a little different. They have a full second Eden cast, but when we come to main production shows, this was surprising for such an older ship. We had 2 more cabaret style shows, one for Broadway, one for that of Hollywood movie film, as well as 2 other more main review shows where we had aerialists, acrobats, and a little bit more of a theme through the review.
We love the variety in shows. The cast was also very talented, so we enjoyed going to the theater multiple nights. There was also a lot of different parties and activities in the evening as well. For a 10-night itinerary, this was pretty jam-packed with things to do and shows to see. So overall, we felt like the entertainment and the activities were well done.
Our main good, though, that we have to highlight, and this cannot be overlooked, when it comes to the service, this is top-notch service. And we kind of realized that when you get on the smaller ships here, especially Celebrity Infinity, you're less of a number and more of a person, and you have that more one-to-one ratio with the crew, and it is noticeable on board Celebrity Infinity.
From our stateroom attendant to our dining team in Blue to the buffet team to the bartenders, we got excellent service across the ship. And honestly, it was one of the things that stood out and was our favorite part of being on board the Celebrity Infinity.
We got to talk to some of the crew, and that's some of their favorite parts of being on a smaller ship as well. They don't have to do as much as some of those that are on the newer, larger ships for so many people, so they're able to specialize the service a little bit more than they could on some of the bigger ships. That was the good. Let's talk about the bad. And remember, we have our one ugly at the end, so stay tuned all the way through the end. And I just have to remind people, our bad can also be things just to watch for or know before you cruise or book Celebrity Infinity. So not everything's going to be bad for everyone.
When it comes to the stateroom, we kind of already said this, but it was very outdated. The staterooms were probably the most tired part of the ship. For a heavy European itinerary, this is not a big deal for us at all because that is a crash pad during the night after a long day of exploring on land. But it is something to know if this bothers you, if you don't like the outdated colors, furniture, kind of look and feel of the room, Infinity might not be for you.
Another thing to know, since Celebrity Infinity does these longer voyages, a lot of times you might have 1 or 2 nights where you just want to chill in bed and watch a movie. Unfortunately, on Celebrity Infinity, there are no on-demand movies because the televisions are from, I don't know, the beginning of time. That is one thing to note, such a small thing, but if you're someone that's taking a transatlantic or a longer voyage and you really look forward to having a night in, this is not capable or something you can do on Celebrity Infinity.
Activities or things that just weren't happening, maybe show times that weren't right, as well as food and dining times that were not accurate. So again, something to know, double check when you see something in the app. Maybe you get those printout daily planners to make sure they say the same thing, because we ran into this probably 3 or 4 times over the course of 10 days.
Another thing we had heard a lot about Celebrity Infinity and prior for other older cruise ships are smells that happen throughout the ship, and you don't know where they come from, and if you get a stinky stateroom, it's a problem. Well, overall, we did not have this problem on Celebrity Infinity, but it did happen a few times. It was never in our stateroom, never in the food venues, but every once in a while we would walk down a random hallway and we'd just get a whiff of something. We had no idea what it was. You know, part of me was like, is this another passenger? I hope not. But if it was, it would be a really distinct smell. So I think it is something to do with the age of the ship. Every once in a while you do get a whiff of something not so pleasant.
There was a lot of art on the ship, and it was art that was very, we're gonna call it unique. There were specifically some statues in the buffet and different paintings throughout the ship that were so off the wall and completely strange Some people described these as disturbing, scary, or just very weird. So for us, it wasn't necessarily a bad, but it did make the bad list because of they were the talk of the ship. And overall, people had a lot of negative things to say about the art on board.
Yeah, we could have made it our ugly for this video and it would have been a literal ugly. Moving over to the functionality of the ship, we always look out for all-inclusive travel, meaning anyone of any type of ability level. We want to make sure that you're able to travel and cruise well on this ship. Well, unfortunately, there are a lot of steps on the pool deck. And this is something not just for those that might have a walker or a chair, but also for those that just can't do a lot of steps based off of knees or any other kind of ability. Unfortunately, there are a lot of steps and something that we don't usually find on a pool deck. We're confused why it was added, but it's such an old ship that they're not going to change it now. So just be mindful of that if you are someone who has those needs for more mobility.
Like we said, a lot of the food on the ship was very good. There was about 2 nights in Blu where the food came out cold, and we heard from other passengers this was an issue in the main dining room, just cold food coming out. Please, if you get cold food, send it back and ask for new food. I think that's something that people don't do often enough. You never should have to eat something that doesn't taste good or is cold on your plate. And maybe there's some heaters that need replaced in the kitchen on the Infinity, but it did happen to us a couple of times. So again, just something to know. Don't eat your food cold. Let your waiter know immediately.
The great thing of this is a lot of times they have another dish ready to go. So maybe that next dish won't take that long to prepare and they'll just give it to you right away and then make sure the next table is kind of refreshed and ready to go. On the flip side of being too cold, the ice cream was the opposite. It wasn't cold enough. We had some issues where the ice cream, both soft serve as well as the hard scoop, would go into our cone, and once we look and take a lick, it's already completely like melted. It's weird. We don't know what's going on with the freezer situation, but it is not cold enough for the ice cream, both soft serve and hard scooped.
One quick note about the shows. We said that we loved them, and we did. They are a little bit dated. Again, for cruise ships that are 20 plus years old, these shows really have not been updated. So you've got costumes, you've got songs from the early 2000s, and it's just something to know. We actually kind of enjoyed it because for us, that was high school. But not everyone likes to see older music or older shows like that. So one just thing to note, if you are going to go to the shows, again, we did enjoy them, but they are a little dated.
That was the bad. Let's talk about the ugly. And as a reminder, please subscribe to the channel if you're not currently subscribed. It means a lot to us and is completely free for you to do. And while you're there, hit that thumbs up. But when we go to our ugly, this is something we look forward to on every cruise ship, and most cruisers do. That is late night eats. And honestly, we don't have to say much more than put up this one video to show you how disgusting the late night eats were on Celebrity Infinity. The pizza was inedible, and there was one story of when we went up there once and there was a couple waiting for 10 minutes. No one was there, and they were just wanting a new fresh pizza to be made, and they had to go around to the pasta bar, which unfortunately wasn't much better.
Until 1 a.m., you've got pizza, pasta, and salad. And like Jared said, the pizza was a total miss, and the pizza was bad the entire time. Also, the pasta bar was disgusting. It seemed to never be getting refreshed. The noodles looked gross and dried. We ate the pasta one night and it both left us not feeling very good. So we think that that pasta and pizza station really needs some attention because it wasn't just ugly, it was disgusting.
We rarely say this for Celebrity at all. Usually the food is always at the top quality level and prepared and with a friendly face. Unfortunately for late night, these crew members just weren't taking care of their stations, and it's an unfortunate thing for those that did want a late night eat.
So that was it. That was our good, bad, and ugly. Let us know what you think. Have you sailed on the Celebrity Infinity? Is this a ship that you would go on? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? We always invite you to get in the comments and let us know your thoughts.
And of course, both of us are travel agents, so if you